Hello, everybody, and welcome here up at BSN Network. Today is Wednesday, May 18th. Coming off another exciting night last night in the world of sports, and tonight should be a lot of fun. You got more baseball on, and Game 1 of the New York Rangers Carolina Hurricanes second round of the NHL playoffs begins tonight. Obviously, Rangers are on the road tonight. Should be a very good game. Super pumped up. PNC Arena, going to be wild, going to be packed. They're down in Raleigh, I believe is how you pronounce it, North Carolina. So should be a good one. Super pumped up, super excited. Definitely nervous. I'm definitely nervous, coming off the big win, as we all know, on Sunday night against the Penguins. You felt great on Monday. Yesterday was kind of like, for a fan, you was kind of like you got to shift your focus now to, the Panther, here I'm going to say the Carolina Panthers. I mean the Carolina Hurricanes. You got to kind of shift your focus to them, get ready for them. They're a very good team. We're going to give you my preview today. I should be able to do this podcast and get it uploaded in the morning. I'm doing it in the morning. I'm able to get some time here, so I'm going to be able to do this, and I should be uploaded early. So it's going to be uploaded probably pretty early today. Going to try to be as quick as I can. Got 2 topics today. Going to try to keep it around 30 to 40 minutes. That's about all the time I'm able to put into this. Not going to be a crazy long video. Going to try to keep it short and sweet and to the point. I know a lot of you guys have liked those videos. I enjoy doing them too. I used to do the hour-long ones. Sometimes even for me, it was just too long. I felt like I talked a whole lot, and I felt sometimes I went off topic or went to many different areas instead of just set stone, talk about one thing or 2 things and get going on with the show. So our topics today are going to be Rangers versus Hurricanes preview. Similar to what I did with Pittsburgh, going to go a little bit more in depth today because I have more time. The series, I believe the preview that I had with Pittsburgh, I don't think I did a preview with Pittsburgh. I think I just did Game 1 recap or series update. I don't think I was able to do a pod for the series preview. So today's going to be a series preview. Guys to look out for, what the Rangers need to do, because I really believe the Rangers have a few things that they have to do in this series if they want to win. And they obviously struggled against the Panthers. Here we go. I apologize. If I say the Panthers and don't correct myself, just let it go. I get them mixed up all the time. Carolina Hurricanes and the Carolina Panthers, I get them mixed up all the time. So if I say the Panthers periodically and I don't correct myself, just know I mean the Hurricanes. So Rangers obviously were 1-3 this season against the Hurricanes in the regular season. Now, that obviously means nothing. Rangers were 3-1 against the Penguins in the regular season. They had to go to a Game 7. So regular season means nothing, but still want to get into it, still want to talk about it. Keys for the Rangers, keys for the Hurricanes. Kind of just do an overall overview as we get ready for Game 1 tonight down in North Carolina at PNC Arena. So should be good. Then I'm going to get to Aaron Judge's success and his contract. Last night, Aaron Judge went 4 for 5, 2 home runs, a double, and something else. Or was it? Yeah, 2 home runs, a double, I think, and I can't believe I'm forgetting the stat line. It was something crazy. But a great night for Aaron Judge. And I want to talk about his success, number 1, why he is the MVP frontrunner right now. And number 2, what he is doing is just showing us all that Judge has to get paid this offseason. The Yankees cannot. There's no longer the Yankees should, or let's hope they do. It's the Yankees have to. They have to re-sign him in the offseason. And the fact that we're even having this discussion in May when he's batting .315 and leading the league in home runs, 3rd in RBIs and 3rd in OPS, if I'm remembering correctly among all the stats I looked at this morning, then, if you're looking at that, there should be no debate whether or not to pay him. You have to pay him, and there's no longer a debate. We'll get to that. Then we'll finish off the podcast with the New York sports update. Like I said, Yankees got the win last night. It wasn't easy. It wasn't the prettiest of victories. Judge had a great night. Chapman comes in, almost blows it. There comes a time where you got to stop putting the team in these situations. If you're the Yankees, you got to start to put Clay Holmes out there, put Green out there, even if it's Michael King, just letting him keep going. He was phenomenal again last night. He's having his best season of his career so far. So it's been it was a good win last night. Great night from Judge. But I mean, man, oh man, you got to find a way to get this closer situation, figured out, because you can't keep putting the team in these situations. So they got the win. They'll be back in action tonight, third game of the 4-game set against Baltimore. Mets split the doubleheader today. Yesterday, won the first game, I believe 3-1, lost the second game 4-3. So they split the doubleheader. Today will be the third game of that series. And that's kind of what's going on. Yankees look for the series win. Mets look to get the series back up to 2, and then they'll go for the win tomorrow. So we'll see how all that plays out. But tonight, got big game tonight. Rangers, Carolina Hurricanes. Should be good. Should be exciting. So should be good. With all that being said, this is BSN Podcast, and let's get right into it. Alrighty, so fresh off the Game 7 overtime victory against the Pittsburgh Penguins on Sunday night, the New York Rangers will face off against the Carolina Hurricanes tonight in North Carolina at PNC Arena. Should be a packed crowd. I will admit, Garden obviously I think is the best crowd in all of them. That might be my bias, but it's amazing. Playoff hockey at the Garden, playoff anything. We don't see playoff basketball there much because the Knicks stink, but you have seen a lot of playoff hockey, not so much recently, but this year it's been great to see playoff hockey with 4 games, obviously this season, being at the Garden so far during that 7-game series. Rangers got the win. We all know how it went. Talked about it on Monday. It was a thrilling victory. It was a great win. Right here, this guy right here, Panarin, with the game winner, and it was awesome. It was a thrilling victory as a fan. You're going nuts watching that game. You're all over the place emotion-wise. You start off the game great, then things start to tilt in the Penguins' favor. Then you kind of come back. Then the Penguins take a lead into the third period. The third period, not much is going on. Then you get the goal by Mika. Then you go into overtime. You get the early power play and you score. And you're thinking to myself, oh my gosh, we just came back from down 3-1. And in all 3 of the games that they won, they had to come back in those games. That's the first time we've ever seen that in NHL history. So we all know that the Rangers are not going to go down without a fight. They're going to go down fighting. They're going to go down battling. Whether they win or lose, it's going to be a battle. And I think as a Ranger fan, you've kind of come to the realization of that none of these games are going to be these cakewalk types games or these easy games where you win 5-1 or 6-2 or something like that. These games are going to be 3-2, 2-1, 4-3, a late goal, something like that, a late third period comeback, a couple big saves late by Igor to get the win. That's what these games are going to be. So I really look at this series before you even go deep dive into what each team brings to the table in terms of talent, skill, ability to win, goalie, position by position. This series is, I believe, going to be a physical, tough series similar to what we saw in Pittsburgh. Now, it's going to be even a little bit more physical than Pittsburgh because it's the second round. Stakes are just that little bit higher. You win this, now you're 1 series away from the Stanley Cup. So it's a little bit higher. Stakes are a little higher. I think the Rangers realize they don't have home ice. So you got to take care of business these early games because you're not going to have that luxury of having a Game 7 in your own building. If this series gets to a Game 7, the Carolina Hurricanes are going to be hosting it. And I think that's big for the Rangers. And I think the Rangers have to kind of keep that in the back of their head. I'm not saying to focus on Game 7 and Game 1. For my own fans' sake, for my own health, I hope the Rangers can get this series win and win it pretty easily because Game 7 for me was just, I was all over the place emotional-wise. I couldn't take it. My heart rate was probably, my blood pressure was probably through the roof. I couldn't take it. It was so stressful. And I was the same way last year when the Nets played the Bucks in Game 7 in the second round. I was the same way. Especially in basketball when the scoring's changing so much. And then you go down to the KD. We all know how it went. Don't have to go through that. This is hockey, but I was going through it. So I really hope that this series, as much as it's great, Game 7 and all that, as a fan, it stinks. But if you win it, it feels great. That's the one thing. But I think this series, before you even get into team-by-team stuff, this series is going to be very physical, especially the fact that the Carolina Hurricanes have 6 former Rangers on their roster. So you have to put that into account that the Rangers know those guys. And sure, maybe they're friendly outside of the game, but the Rangers are gonna beat both teams. Even the 6 former Rangers, they're gonna want to, beat their former team, and the Rangers are gonna want to beat their former teammates. That's just how it is. That's always how it is. It's kind of that competitive spirit, especially a guy like a Tony DeAngelo, who had, obviously all the stuff that he did on Twitter and, the Rangers and all that craziness that went on last year. He's kind of a guy that's going to come into this series with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. The way it ended in New York was kind of an ugly breakup, not really a nice breakup, was kind of an ugly breakup, to kind of describe it the best way I can. So, he's going to come in with a little bit of chip on his shoulder, and the Rangers are going to come in kind of a little chip on their shoulder to say, hey, look, we don't need you. Kind of something like that. Like, we don't need you. We got guys here that can take care of business. And I think it is crucial for the Rangers to come out of these two games, tonight, both Wednesday and Friday, with at least one win. And I think that's crucial. Rangers did it with Pittsburgh. They lost game 1. They bounced back in game 2. If you can come out of these two games with a 2-0 lead, well, man, oh man, you got to feel, you throw a party because you got to feel great. Because then you're going back into your own building, which the Rangers have been great this postseason. They're 3-1 at home. Obviously, you win game 5 at home, game 7 at home, and game 2 at home. They're 3-1 at home. They're 1-2 on the road. Yeah, 1-2 on the road. So they're obviously a much better home team so far this postseason. Small sample size, only 7 games. But you win these first 2 games, and you get back to the Garden on Sunday, you got to feel great. Now, if you lose game 1, you got to bounce back game 2 because down 2-0, the Hurricanes are a lot better than the Penguins. The Hurricanes, you can make the argument, are Stanley Cup favorites. I'm not too sure exactly what the betting odds are. I know they're up there with the Avalanche and the Panthers and all them. They might be the third, I think, maybe. Of the remaining teams, they got to be third, I would assume. It's got to be the Avalanche 1, probably Panthers, then Hurricanes. Although with the Panthers barely getting through with the Capitals, maybe the Hurricanes jumped up a little bit. Now, the Hurricanes, obviously, Bruins gave them a run for their money. But you got to come away with at least, and I said it's similar with the Nets, you got to try to find a way to come away with at least one of these games. And if you can win tonight game 1, well, you all of a sudden, that's how quickly a series can go, you all of a sudden put the pressure on the Hurricanes to win game 2, because for the Hurricanes, you can't go down 2-0 and then go back and go on the road, and then, your risk of going down 3-0 or down 3-1. So, similar to what the Rangers were in the situation with the Penguins. They lost game 1, they needed to win game 2, they did that. They evened up the series. Now, we all know series went wild after that. Rangers found a way to win it, but they got to come away with at least one. That's big, because, down 2-0, yeah, you're going back to your own building, but look what the Bruins did. They were down 2-0. They went back to their own building. They just could not win on the road, and that hurt them because Game 7 was on the road and they couldn't win it. So to really break it down team by team, we saw what the Hurricanes bring to the table in terms of fast play, physicality, just all around. They're all around a good hockey team. And I know their goaltender situation's kind of up in the air. Freddie Anderson had a very solid year, had a good season, but he's a guy that's day-to-day. He'll probably play. Now, Antti Raanta played, I believe it was Game 7 against the Bruins, and was phenomenal. So you wonder, do the Hurricanes ride with the hot hand, or do they go back to Freddie Anderson, the true starter, or they roll with Antti Raanta? Now, it's kind of like a Penguin situation. Do you roll with the healthiest guy, which was Louis Domingue, or do you bring in, now Freddie Anderson hasn't been out for months on end, or do you bring him in, kind of a guy who's day-to-day? It's interesting. It's an interesting scenario to see what the Hurricanes do. Now, both of them are very good goaltenders. I don't think it's as big as a drop-off. It's not like a first-string to third-string type deal. Freddie Anderson's the starter, Antti Raanta's the backup. And to be honest, Antti Raanta, in the games he's played this season, been very good. And even with his time with the Rangers, he was a solid asset behind Henrik when Henrik wasn't out there. So, you got to put that into consideration. We all know Igor's going to be in net. I know people are saying, oh, Georgiev, shut them out. Look, no. Igor's in net. He was phenomenal in Game 7. He made some crucial saves. Some of those saves, if he doesn't make Rangers right now, we're not talking about round 2. We're talking about the offseason and what they can do to improve the roster. So that's how much Igor was in, that's how much the impact Igor made in Game 7, some of those saves. I even remember the cross crease save where he blocked it, and then there was a slap shot and he literally dove all out. His arms were all the way up, saved it. Those are just the saves that, guys just, that's the natural talent and the knack he has as a goalie. So he's going to be in net. And it's going to be a good matchup. Similar to Tristan Jarry and Igor. They both made their saves in big moments. Obviously, Igor made a couple bigger ones than Jarry, that resulting in the victory, but it's going to be good there. And the biggest thing for the Rangers that I can't stress enough is all season our 5-on-5 play has been shaky. Our power play has been, phenomenal. One of the best power play teams, if not the best power play team in all of hockey. 5-on-5, on the other hand, it's shaky. And I think we even saw that in Pittsburgh at times. Sometimes, a little lazy, maybe not as quick, maybe, sometimes a little lazy with the puck, turning the puck over. I will tell you this. The Hurricanes are the better team than the Penguins, without a doubt. And the turnovers that the Rangers had against the Penguins, even some of them that didn't result in goals. Some of them, the Penguins just didn't score. Some of them, Igor made some big saves. Whatever it was, those same turnovers, if you make them against the Hurricanes are going to score. They have a better roster. They're a faster team. They'll get out in transition more. You turn the puck over, it's going to be a 3-on-2 just like that, and boom, they're moving down ice. Like Speedy Gonzalez, and they're going to score. Penguins, not so much. Penguins kind of a slower team, waited out a little bit. The Hurricanes are just going to play in transition, and they're just going to go and go and go and go. And the Rangers need to make sure that their forecheck's good, and they can't turn the puck over in their own zone. And they can't have these long stretches in their own zone. Because you got to realize, the Penguins are a little bit more of an older team, not as quick, not as high energetic. This Hurricanes team's a young team, high energetic. Sebastian Aho, all those guys like that. They're young, they're high energetic, they're full of energy, they're quick, they're fast, they shoot a lot, they're good 5-on-5, they're physical, they bring all that to the table. So these long shifts for the Rangers in their own zone is going to hurt them. So the Rangers need to make sure that they don't have these long shifts in their own zone. They get the puck, they clear it, or they get it out, try to get maybe a 3-on-2 or a 2-on-1 or, maybe a breakaway chance. Take chances. Have those opportunities. The Rangers, I see too much sometimes, get control of the puck in their own zone, and then they pass it behind the net, gets picked off, and then there's a chance for a one-timer or something like that. Rangers can't do that. You need to limit the turnovers. You need to get the puck out of your zone, get in transition, and get shots on net. And especially if Freddie Anderson's a little banged up, put shots on him. Put shots on net. Continue to do it. They did it with Jari, and look, it worked. They won. So do the same thing. And you got to be good 5-on-5, like I said. Hurricanes are a very fast team. And for the Hurricanes, you got to pound the Rangers' zones. You get shots up. Because if the Rangers are playing these long shifts, not only is it just going to hurt them in the moment, but if they continue to play the long shifts, it's going to hurt them later on in the series because then they're going to be kind of drained out, not as, they're going to be tired and stuff like that. So the Rangers, I always say this in sports. You don't want to play up to their speed. Don't try to be as fast as the Hurricanes. Because the Rangers, don't try to be as fast as the Hurricanes. Don't try to be the team that the Hurricanes play. They're fast, they pass, they just do all those things. They're a very good team. All around very good team. And I'm not denying it. The Hurricanes are the favorites in this series. It's going to be a tough series for the Rangers. I believe if they do the things that they need to do, they can come away with this, and boy, I hope they do. But the Rangers need to just contain the Hurricanes. You can't try to play up to their speed, because that's not the type of game the Rangers are. They need to just contain the Hurricanes, right? Don't allow them to get those 3-on-2 opportunities. Don't allow them to get 5-6 shots on, during one shift in your own zone. Have a good forecheck. If the Rangers do those things, play your game. Shoot the puck. The Rangers started to shoot the puck late in the series, and look what happened. Panarin, he shot the puck, and it scored in overtime. That's what happens when you shoot. I look at the Keandre Miller goal. He shot the puck. It wasn't a great shot, but look, it went off the guy skating in. That's what happens. And it was the Penguins' defenseman's skate. So it wasn't even like he was trying to tip it in. You look at Kreider's goal to send it to a Game 7. It went off of Louis Domingue's glove, bounced behind him and went in. It might not be the most prettiest goal, but it all counts. A goal's a goal. So shoot the puck, get it on net, get pressure, and you really just got to pound it. Pound it in their zone. Just really just dominate their zone. Because if you have the puck in their zone and you wear them down, that's when you're going to get the grade A chances. That's when you're going to get the high opportunities. That's when you're going to get, your top 6 players like Mika, Kreider, who's got to be very good this series. Brad, all those guys. That's when you get those guys involved. And an interesting matchup is Tony DeAngelo and Adam Fox. Both of those guys, very talented. DeAngelo's had a very good season. We all know what Adam Fox has been capable of. Adam Fox did not have a very good Game 7. Looks to bounce back tonight in Game 1, but I can't stress this enough for the Rangers. What I do think the Rangers have the advantage of is goaltending. I think goaltending, power play as well. And I will always say it. If the Rangers shoot the puck, they have some of the best shooters in the game. Mika Zibanejad, he looks, I'm not comparing him to Ovechkin, but those goals he scored against Pittsburgh in Game 6 and Game 7, Those were like Ovechkin shots. Right in the perfect spot, putting heat behind it. The Rangers have some of the best goal scorers in the league. I mean, Kreider had 50-plus goals. So, the Rangers have some of the best talent. They have the advantage on that. What the Hurricanes have the advantage on is 5-on-5 play. Probably, I would say they probably have the advantage. Or speed, definitely. Penalties, they don't take as many. But, if the Rangers start hitting and being physical, especially a guy like a Tony DeAngelo, could kind of maybe get a little rattled, could get a little, I think that's big too. I think it's big too. And I'm not saying force an injury. I'm not saying that. But if you target Tony DeAngelo a little bit, maybe you get under his skin a little bit, that could force him to get a little angry and maybe take some unnecessary penalties. He's a guy, he wants the Rangers. It was an ugly breakup. The Rangers kind of hated him. He kind of got tired of the Rangers. They got rid of the Rangers moved on from him. He's now a Hurricane. Now he's going up against his former team. He's going to be fired up and pumped up. If the Rangers can kind of get under his skin a little bit, completely take him out of the equation, that's when he can get rattled. And I hope it happens because that would be big. Because DeAngelo's been a very key asset for the Hurricanes. You get him rattled, he starts taking unnecessary penalties, that helps the Rangers because the Rangers are one of the best power play teams in all of hockey, maybe the best remaining in the postseason. So, those are your keys. Contain the Hurricanes. The Rangers have the goaltending advantage. Believe in Igor. You got to believe in him. I mean, he was great in Game 7, made some crucial saves. And, the other big things are, shoot the puck, get the puck on net, and when you get your power play opportunities, capitalize on those. And like I said, it's not going to be an easy series. I could see this series. I could see it, going to late in the series. I could. And the regular season means nothing. And I will always say that because, look, in the regular season, the Rangers were 3-1 against the Penguins. If that success carried over, the Rangers would have won that series in 5 games. No, that series went to 7 games. And it took a 3-1 comeback from the Rangers. So that just shows you regular season means nothing. Playoff hockey is a whole different mountain to climb. So the 1-3 in the regular season for me means nothing. That's in the rear view. For the Rangers, it's all about now. You're 0-0. You have not played the Hurricanes yet. It's a completely new season when it comes to playoff hockey. So I believe in the team. I believe in the Rangers. You're coming off a great Game 7, reset, get ready to go, and I'm pumped up. I'm excited. I really am very excited for this series, and I think it's not going to be easy. But if the Rangers do what they need to do, they're capable of doing some great things. This team. So tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Game 2 will be Friday. We'll kind of go through the schedule here. Game 3 will be at the Garden. That's Sunday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. ESPN Friday, like I said, I think I said 8 p.m. Eastern, ESPN. Tuesday will be 7 p.m. Eastern, ESPN. And in Game 5, 6, and 7, if necessary, those are next week. I'm not going to focus on those games right now. Let's get through the first 4. But that's kind of your schedule. So, obviously, the first 2 in Carolina. Next, the games 3 and 4 will be at the Garden. If needed, Game 5 will be in Carolina. If needed, Game 6 will be at the Garden. And, if needed, Game 7, that will be in Carolina. So, but let's focus on Game 1. That's tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. I mean, look, Rangers had 110 points this season. They finished second in the Metro. Hurricanes at 116. So, it wasn't wild. It wasn't like it was a 12-point difference. It was 6 points. It was 6 points. It wasn't that much. So it shows you that the Rangers are capable. They are. They just got to play their game, do what they can do, and we should be in a good spot, pumped up. All right, and last night's game were very good too. You obviously had the Avalanche overtime goal. They take a 1-0 series lead, and the Lightning take a 1-0 series lead over the Florida Panthers. I'm telling you, man, the Lightning every year until they don't, or every year until they either don't make the playoffs or they have a really bad postseason performance, they're always going to be on the top of your list for Stanley Cup contenders. The year they won it, not many people thought they would. They did it. Year 2, not many people thought they did. Year 3, people are like, oh, no way. And look, they take Game 1 against the Panthers. Now, it's Game 1. A lot of things can change. But, I mean, it's a pretty convincing victory, too. What was it, a 4-1 victory? 4-1 victory. I mean, Vasilevsky and that defense shut down a Panthers offense that is very lethal, as we all know. So, I mean, you gotta, that's all I'm saying. Tonight's the Rangers, Hurricanes, and an Oilers, Flames are your other games there. Both on ESPN as well. So those should be good. Battle of the Canadian teams with Calgary and Edmonton, and then Rangers Hurricanes. All right, so with all that being said, coming up next, I'm going to get to Aaron Judge and his success this season and why this brings up the question again, do you extend Judge? And that's not the question anymore. It is no longer should or should we or are we going to. It has to be. The question now is, or that not even the question. Don't even know how to word it. You have to re-sign Aaron Judge. You cannot let Aaron Judge leave. I have many reasons why. I probably have 315 for his batting average. I'm not going to do every 315. I have about 6-7 really good reasons. No longer is it should or are we going to. It's we have to. Why Cashman and Hal Steinbrenner have to step up to the plate and get a deal done. Whether it's this, even in the offseason. But the way he's playing now, Judge has to be a Yankee for life. We'll get to that coming up next. All right, so we welcome you back here up at the podcast. Wednesday, May 18th. Rangers tonight. Yankees as well. Yankees, Mets. Yankees' third game of the 4-game set against the Orioles. Go for another series win tonight. Cole is on the mound. Pitching continues to be good. Last night pitching was good, although Chapman was rocky, but that's no surprise. You got to figure something out to do with the closer role. It's just terrible. Chapman, you can't keep putting him in. And, I know it's May, and I know we got a whole season to go, but you even just think until postseason. Like, if it's like a Game 6 and you need to win a Game 6, or if it's a Game 7 and you throw him out there in a 2-run game, can you really trust him? It's the Orioles and he almost blew it. Just imagine if you're going up against a lineup like, I don't know, let's say you're going up against like Trout, Chapman versus Trout, second and third, 1 out, or 2 outs in Game 7. You can't trust that. Or even if it's like the Rays or like an Astros or somebody like that. I don't want to think until the playoffs, but I'm just putting it out there. Clay Holmes has to be the closer. And until Chapman shows us otherwise, you hope it's just a rough stretch for him and he can bounce back. But until he shows us otherwise, Clay Holmes has got to be the closer. Because Clay Holmes, you got to give credit to Cashman. What a find. He was in Pittsburgh. The Yankees get him for pretty much nothing at the trade deadline last year. It was kind of the under-the-radar move, other than the two headliners of Rizzo and Gallo. They kind of get Clay Holmes, and Clay Holmes was great last season and has been one of the best relievers in baseball this year. The Yankees' bullpen's been phenomenal. King last night yet again, 9 up, 9 down. What did he have, like 6 strikeouts? He's been unbelievable. So, anyway, that kind of get that out of the way. But the main topic here is Judge. And like I said, they go for the series win tonight. So I'm not complaining. I love that Judge is dominant. But sitting there watching the game last night, and you see him get off to the great start, with the double. That was almost a home run. I hit the wall, almost. He was that close. That close. Literally that close to hitting a home run. He obviously ended with 2 home runs and a double. And then he also had 2 home runs and a double. So he had a very good game. 4 for 5, 2 runs scored, 3 RBIs. His batting average is now .315. I'll just read you a slash line. .315, .384 on base percentage, slugging .692, and his OPS is all the way up to 1.076. That's third in baseball. And you look at his 4 main stats. Average is 12th in baseball, .315. He has 14 home runs, that's first. 30 RBIs, that's third. And he has an OPS of 1.076. That is third in the MLB. So he is top 12 in the major stat card. He's top 3, and he's number 1 in home runs. He's third in RBIs and third in OPS. So he's top 5 in almost every major category when you look at batting and you look at statistics. And I could say that last season he had a great year. He had an awesome year last year. Batted .287, banged in 39 homers and 98 RBIs, was phenomenal, had a great season. He had a very good year, don't get me wrong. Was an all-star. It was kind of one of those big seasons. After the struggle that was in 2020, only playing 28 games in the shortened 60-game season, last year was a big bounce back. I can make the argument, and maybe it's not even an argument if you look at the numbers. I really haven't looked at the numbers other than just this year's numbers. He's probably off to a better start this season than last year. And maybe that's wrong, but I believe it's got to be right. Because, he's unbelievable. He's one of the best players in baseball right now. He's putting up numbers that are just through the roof. It could also be the fact that the Yankees are that good, so it seems like everybody's doing better. But, Judge is just dominant. This reminds me of 2017, the start that he had, where he was just knocking balls out of the ballpark everywhere, hitting home runs. He batted .284, knocked in 114 RBIs. I mean, all those things. And this season, he's on pace to do, great things. Have way over 100-plus RBIs. Crank in maybe 40, 45 home runs. What he's bringing to the table for the New York Yankees is a top 5 player in baseball. And right now, if the season would end today, crazy as it sounds, Nasty Nestor should be the Cy Young, and Aaron Judge should be your MVP. That is how good. I talked about Nasty Nestor yesterday if you're interested in watching that, but that's just how good the Yankees have been this year. Aaron Judge right now is the MVP. And if he's got to be the front runner, and especially after last night, and it's coming off a day off too. So it's clear that the day off was good. It was good for him coming off the series in Chicago, gets the day off, comes in yesterday, and was just amazing. Just phenomenal. And, like I always say, you could say, oh, well, it's the Orioles. Look, he's hitting against the teams he's supposed to hit against. The Orioles are not good. He dominated the Orioles. He's done it all the way out throughout his career. So hitting against great teams is also very good. But when you beat up on bad teams, that's even better because that just shows you that you're dialed in. You're not taking those games for lightly. You're going in. You're dominating. And last night he did that. And the fact that we still have to sit here and talk about should Judge have should he be a Yankee for life? What did the Yankees do with his extension? The fact that he is an MVP frontrunner right now. 315, 14 home runs, 30 RBIs. The fact that he's been that good. And you have the conversation of, so what do you do in the offseason? Do you extend him? Do you let him walk? If the Yankees let this guy walk, the pace he's going on, if he bats .315 this season, cranks in 45 home runs and 110 RBIs, and wins the MVP, you're telling me that you're going to let him walk in free agency? It's no longer the question of should we. The Yankees have to. For the sake of the franchise, for the fan base, for the organization. Aaron Judge is in the category of a guy like a Jeter and Mattingly in terms of what he means to the organization. And I'm not trying to compare him to them. Those are all-time greats. But I mean in terms of what he means to the organization, in terms of jersey sales, why fans go to watch the games. You have the Judge's chambers in right field. You literally have a place in the ballpark dedicated to the Judge's chambers. His jersey is one of the top-selling jerseys amongst Yankee fans and in baseball. Every young fan wants an Aaron Judge jersey. I have an Aaron Judge jersey. Every young fan wants a Judge jersey. He's one of the top-selling jerseys in all of baseball and probably is on the Yankees. Tourists in New York go to watch the Yankees games. And this is from Boomer and Gio who are saying this now. Boomer Esiason on Boomer and Gio, they do a great job doing the morning show. I was listening to them this morning, and they were even saying, tourists in New York, go to baseball, go to the Yankees games, Yankee Stadium, historic ballpark, all the history. They go to the games to watch Aaron Judge. They go to the games to see the face of the franchise. He is the face of the franchise. What Mike Trout is to the Angels, Judge is to the Yankees, and the Yankees have always had those guys, those face of the franchises, those guys that every fan loves and admires and just goes to the stadium to watch him. Sells tickets. Aaron Judge sells tickets. When the Yankees are on the road, people are going to watch Aaron Judge. Yankee fans that don't live in New York or in the metropolitan area, for the Yankee fan that might be out west, if the Yankees ever go out west to play, the Giants or the Dodgers, they're there to watch Aaron Judge. They are at the game to watch the Yankees and Aaron Judge and see Aaron Judge dominate. Look at all the Yankees fans in Baltimore, and all the Judge jerseys. It's insane. What he means to this organization, he means so much. And this is just off the field stuff now. This is just fans. And what he's doing on the field is remarkable. And knock on wood, he's been healthy. He's been very healthy. And last season he was healthy. This season up to this point he's been healthy. So it seems as if he's kind of past that argument of, is he healthy enough? Like I said, this is no longer should we. You should not be sitting here this Wednesday morning thinking to yourself, man, Judge has been great, but do you think we extend him? I don't know. I think it's risky. How is it risky? He's one of the best players in baseball. He's on pace to knock in 45 bombs this year and add on 110 RBIs. I'm not saying he's going to keep up with the pace, but I mean, he might be pretty darn close to it. I could see him exceeding 100 RBIs. I mean, he's third in baseball right now with 30 already. He leads the league in home runs, so it's not crazy to say he could be the lead leaguer at the end of the year. And the Yankees have always had these type of players. Derek Jeter, while they were winning. And even when they weren't winning, you had a guy like a Don Mattingly, who Yankee fans loved. And even they weren't winning championships. That was kind of the tough stretch of the franchise. But Yankee fans loved Don Mattingly. Not only what he did on the field and his stats and how good he was, but just his all-around presence in the locker room, his toughness, out there every game, always wanted to play, did everything he could to help the team win. It stunk that the Yankees were going through a tough stretch because Mattingly, I think Mattingly was kind of not. I think Mattingly doesn't get as much credit as he deserves just because of the fact that he was in a time where Yankees were struggling. But I mean, if Mattingly was on the 90s team, I think he could go down as one of the better ones. He was so good, he just doesn't get as much attention because he was in a time where the Yankees were struggling, not doing great. Now, after Mattingly left, obviously they had great success in the 90s, and as we all know, all those wins, especially with the 98 team, that's one of the best baseball teams of all time. All that stuff. Aaron Judge represents that. I mean, Aaron Judge is what those two players are. And I'm not saying he's Derek Jeter or Don Mattingly. I'm just saying he brings to the table what they brought to the table in terms of jersey sales, people going to watch the games. And the fact that you still have the discussion of, should we? It's not the question anymore. The Yankees have to. And if they don't, and he bats .315 this year, if he keeps up this number, he bats, I don't know, let's say he bats like .295, .300. Cranks in 40 home runs, 100 RBIs, and an OPS of, maybe a 1.9, 1.76. Let's roll with what he's got now. And he wins MVP. And let's just say, I'm not going to put the Yankees' success into this, because I don't want to say the Yankees, I'd love that to happen, win the World Series, but let's just say that's what he does. Not going to so much go into how far or whatever the Yankees do, because this is more about Judge. If he wins the MVP and he puts the numbers that I just described, you're telling me you're going to let him walk in free agency? I mean, I can't name a team right now, and comment down below if I'm wrong. I can't name a team right now that has a player as impactful as Judge that is going to be a free agent at the end of the year. I mean, and I understand he's 30, but has he shown any signs of... look, he's 30. He's probably got 5, 6, 7 really good years left. Boom, you give him a 7-8 year deal, leads him up until 38, 39. That's right towards the end of his career. I mean, what's so hard about it? And I don't get why... where does Cashman and Steinbrenner not seeing this? And the Yankees right now are rolling 27-9. They're 2 games away here from sweeping Baltimore, which isn't a crazy great success. I mean, you should sweep Baltimore. And then you get Chicago at the stadium starting on Friday. And then you get Baltimore again. This is a stretch of games for the Yankees to improve to 30-plus wins and 9-10 losses. I mean, that's how good the Yankees have been this year. So, for Judge, they have to. And you can't let him walk and sign with, the Mets. You can't. Judge he bet on himself this season, and there was a whole lot of risk factors that went into that, but he's been great. He's been awesome. He's been the Yankees' best player by far. And not even just what he's brought to the table, but what him and Stan have brought to the table. You let Judge go. Well, now you don't have Stan. Now Stanton's all by himself. I mean, Judge and Stanton are making history with what they've done this season as teammates. And when both of them are on, stats show it. And there was a stat yesterday I saw when both of them homer, the Yankees are it's something crazy. Their record. When Judge and Stan homer, the Yankees are unbelievable how successful they are. When both Stan and Judge are on, and Stan and Judge right now are very on. I mean, they're on. So, the Yankees have to. And the fact that we're having this discussion is crazy, but there's no longer the debate of don't sign him or to sign him. You have to sign him. You have to sign him. Extend him. You have to. He's been this good, this dominant. I mean, the only player I could think And Soto hasn't had he's been off to a slow start this year. I don't think it's going to last very long, though. Soto's too good to struggle like he has been. But the only guy I can think of is Soto. But he's still young. He's still playing out on his rookie deal. I mean, so is Judge, but I think with Soto is he still has like 2-3 years left on his rookie contract. Now, he rejected the big deal from the Nationals. But I guess if you would to think of a guy that maybe is in a situation like Judge that doesn't have a long-term deal, it would be Soto. But it's kind of, Soto is a little bit different because he's not going to be a free agent at the end of the year. Now, I don't see them trading him and stuff, but, I don't know. When you look at all the people that, what he's done for this franchise, he's the face of the franchise. Like, I don't see why this is so hard to get. Like, he's one of the best players in baseball. He's the MVP front runner right now. He's been dominant. He's been phenomenal. He's been awesome. Extend him. Give him a extension. Re-sign him. Whatever you got to do. Make Judge a Yankee for life. Because he is your best player and your face of the franchise. And, without him, this Yankee team is not the same. So, that's how good Judge has been this year. I'm just thinking, I can't think of a guy who's in that situation. Like, I get it, it's happened before, but when a guy means this so much to an organization, like sometimes a guy, like if you trade for a guy, he's having a great year and he's a free agent at the end of the season. Sometimes that's different. But for a guy that got brought up into the farm system like Trout, no problem. Angels extended him. I'm not going to sit here and name a bunch of guys. I got to wrap up the podcast here. Don't got much time left, but, it's just, I don't know. He's been great, and it's awesome to see, but there shouldn't be a question. There's no longer a question. It's all about just when it's going to happen. That's really what I think. So, Judge is dominant. Yankees continue to dominate. Got the win yesterday. As we all know, 5-4 was got a little choppy there in the ninth, but they got the win. Nonetheless. All right, so games today, we got the Brewers, Braves, Rays, Tigers, Rockies, Giants, A's, Twins, Diamondbacks, Dodgers, Red Sox, Astros, Reds, Guardians, Marlins, Nationals, Phillies, Padres, Blue Jays, Mariners, Mets, Cardinals, Pirates, Cubs, Angels, Rangers, and White Sox, Royals. So those are your games there. Mets game, Mets got Jordan Hicks on the mound for the Cardinals, who come into this one 20-16. Mets are 24-14. Max Scherzer's on the mound for the Mets. He's 4-1 with a 2.66 ERA. 7:10 p.m. Eastern, ILB Network. You could also find on SNY. Yankees game tonight, 7:05 p.m. Eastern. Yankees are 27-9. Orioles are 14-23. Garrett Cole's on the mound. He is 3-0 with a 2.95 ERA, and Jordan Lyles is on the mound for the Orioles. He's 2-3 with a 4.39 ERA. Over/under set at 7.5. 7:05 p.m. Eastern. You find out Mason and the Yes Network. Cole looks to continue his hot stretch here. Warriors Mavericks tonight, Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. I'm going to take the Warriors here tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern on TNT. And as for the NHL, talked a little about it earlier with the Rangers and the Hurricanes. Actually talked a lot about it. You got that game tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Over/under set at 5.5. And the Oilers Flames, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, ESPN. Over/under 6 for that game. That's Game 1 of the Western Conference second round. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference second round for the Rangers, Hurricanes. Tonight, Rangers ESPN first game, and the Oilers Flames will be the second game. So, looking forward to both those games. Really am. Pumped up. Definitely nervous, though. Definitely got that, that nervous energy. I'm really just anticipating the series. I'm great Game 7 win. Now, let's go win this series. As for fantasy baseball, in my main league, I'm currently winning 113-83. In my other league, I'm currently winning 85-52. So, got to look at some of the lineups and stuff like that. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on. Who's been great recently is Adolis Garcia. He's been awesome. He has been great. His last 4 games, 3.271. Batting average all the way up to 221. He's been better. So, kind of a guy to look out for. I got to adjust my lineup, though, because yesterday, I always remember to do my lineup, but some days I don't make changes right away in the morning because I wait until to see if guys are going to play or not. So yesterday I was waiting, and I was waiting to put in my lineup, and I kind of completely forgot, I guess you could say was the word, to do my lineup. So I left JT Realmuto and Gene Segura on my bench, and I was enjoying the Yankees game, and I look at my fantasy, and it was like it brought me down a little bit. But it didn't really matter anyway because Segura got me 1 point and JT Realmuto got me 0. So I missed out on 1 point. Really, I only missed out on 1 point. I mean, because Gio Urshela didn't play and Christian Vasquez didn't play, so I could have had 1 more point. I mean, if I end up losing by 1, it's gonna hurt me a little bit, but I don't foresee that happening. Hopefully, if it is by 1, I win by that. But it was kind of funny. I'm missing my 2 pieces on the bench when they're playing, and I still found a way to get through. Now, some great pitching got me through. Also, the fact that Judge got me 16 points and Yuli Gurriel, between the two, they got me 26 points. My entire starting lineup got me 37. Judge and Yuli got me 26 of those 37. So, thankfully, I didn't leave them on my bench, or else I really would be in a tough situation right now. My pitching as well got me 38 points. Jose Berrios finally had a very good game. He had 24 fantasy points, pitched, 7 strong innings? 7. So he's kind of been a guy that has struggled to start off this year, but a guy that I still believe in because of his track record and what he can do. So anyway, that's my fantasy lineup. Injury update, Harper's the big one. Harper elbow, who's out of the lineup Tuesday against the Padres, may miss Wednesday's game as well, but he hopes to return for Thursday's series finale. Matt Breen of the Philadelphia Inquirer reports. So that's that. Willie Adames also day-to-day. Adames' ankle isn't expected to return before Saturday's game against Washington. Will Sam of the Athletic reports. So looks like he's going to be out for the next couple days. So we'll see how all that plays out. But, that will do it for the podcast here today. Another good one in the books. Tonight, Rangers, Game 1 of the second round. Excited, looking forward to that. Pumped up for that one. And, what else? Yankees, Orioles, Mets, Cardinals. Both of those are the third game of 4-game sets. And, Yankees go for the series win. Yankees go for the series win. Mets today go for the second win of the series, which would then leave tomorrow an opportunity to go for the series win as well. So, see how that plays out. Cole and Scherzer. That's cool. Both of them pitching on the same night. That's going to be cool to see. Cole and Scherzer, both on the same night. Cole against the Orioles, Scherzer against the Cardinals. Hopefully Cole comes out and does what he's been doing all season. Other than the first 2 outings, other than that, he's been phenomenal. So we'll look forward to that, and Scherzer for fantasy as well. But, Cole, it's crazy how Cole's been, the first 2 starts were awful. And the last couple have just been, he's been the Garrett Cole we all know and love. And that's one of the best pitchers in baseball. So, good to see there. But that will do it for the podcast here today. As always, I will see you all back here tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.